taking a critical look at the gaming news of the week.
This is Augmented Reality,
Presented by the Triple S League.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Augmented Reality Podcast, your source for news, leaks, and insights about games and the gaming industry. It's February 19th, 2020. My name is Ash, and I'm here as always with the Cybsidian. How are you doing today?
Hello. I'm good. It's been an interesting week, so yeah. Let's
Usually is with you.
jump into it. Yeah.
Usually is. You tell us it's been an interesting week, but then you can't share many details. But that's the nature of being a cyborg, I suppose, who's involved in all kinds of things that us humans could not comprehend. Anyway, if you're listening live today, please say hello in the live chat and send us your questions and comments there as well. We'll read and respond to as many as we can throughout the podcast. And don't forget to please slam that like button. It likes it rough, and it tells us and YouTube that you appreciate this content. If you're listening after the fact on any of the audio-only platforms, we're glad you're here as well. We appreciate your likes and follows there. But it does take us a couple of days to get the podcast up to the audio platform. So if you want to get the latest info sooner, we encourage you to hit the link in the description to subscribe to the Triple S League YouTube channel, where in addition to the podcast, you'll find lots of other fun and informative gaming content. Just kind of reeling because we came down to the wire with the prep today. That Photoshop job you see on the thumbnail took just like 5 minutes longer than I had estimated, and that threw everything else off because then I have some more artwork to show you today, some more images that we're going to throw up on the screen. Anyway, appreciate you bearing with us, and hello to everybody who's active in the live chat, having conversations there. All right, so if you're following Cyberpunk 2077 news, you're no doubt aware already of the Cyberpunk 2077 themed RTX 2080 Ti GPU that's been announced, which is not going to be for sale. It's going to be a limited run of 77 units. And you have to win one if you want to get one. And there's ways to do that, but Nvidia has teamed up with CD Projekt Red to make this awesome-looking cyberpunk-themed graphics card. And it looks fantastic. So we'll give you the details on how you can win that in a sec. We're, of course, going to we're also going to go through, there's some new Cyberpunk Red art. I believe it was unveiled on the Cyberpunk Community Podcast on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, but we're going to show it to you here today.
It's Cyberpunk Red. Sorry.
Yeah, Cyberpunk Red artwork, and then we also have some photos from inside CD Projekt Red, and we're going to be talking about a couple of other things. The new game Wolcen. Wolcen, W-O-L-C-E-N.
Yeah,
I keep wanting to call it
Wolcen.
Wolcen, but it's Wolcen, like Wilson, but Wolcen.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting.
I'm picturing that character from Home Improvement behind the fence. And then I'm picturing some foreign version of Home Improvement. Hello, Wolcen. Anyway, also Blizzard got absolutely roasted at the DICE Awards. We're going to talk about that as well. Yes, Terra K wants it. Sure, everybody in our chat wants it. Wish we could win all 77 and give them all to our awesome supporters. But unfortunately, the chances of that are basically indistinguishable from zero.
Mm-hmm.
But throw your names in the hat. Maybe you'll win one of these things. It'd be a great thing to play on.
And frankly, it would be great if y'all tweeted us in that too, like retweeted us directly, because that's cool, and I will try and retweet everybody who tweets us with that title. So of course that's part of the sales gimmick, right? Is to get everybody to tag somebody else so that the thing trends everywhere. So
they're using this hashtag RTX on, hashtag this RTX on hashtag that you are required to put on every entry. You know what? Let's just go through that.
I didn't. I thought it was just to retweet the thing. Okay, I've got to make a whole bunch of new tweets today. So tweet at me if you want in.
At least according to this website, I'm looking at altcar.com. Who says if you want to, there's 3 ways to enter: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So there is on Facebook. There's the promotion page for the graphics card. You comment on the linked post with a story about a fellow gamer. and then you write hashtag RTX on at the end of the comment, and that's your entry on Facebook, if you are one of those who still uses Facebook. And then you can, of course, enter on Twitter as well. You go to the RTX on promotion tweet, retweet their video, and tag a gamer that is waiting for Cyberpunk 2077, and use hashtag RTX on here as well.
Somulence, this is correct. Well, supposedly correct. There are new video cards coming before Cyberpunk drops. I keep wanting to call it CP drops, but that sounds weird. Anyways, however, these are not for sale. These are only being given away. From what I understand, these are not for sale. Nvidia is not selling these ones. They're only giving them away. And there's a lot of them, and they're giving away a lot of them, but they're not selling these. This isn't making them money. This is simply just getting them publicity. Now, part of that, if you know the inner workings, basically they have a big stock of 2080 Ti's. What better way to dump them than to, like, if you're going to sell them for basically at a loss, then why not just sell them as that, right?
Use it as a giveaway gimmick, and like the RTX on hashtag was trending a couple days ago. I'm not sure if it still is or not, but it was absolutely it's gone crazy. I mean, everybody wants to win these things, and so yes, incredible marketing genius behind this.
And I mean, for a lot of us, it's barely an upgrade, right? Or it's just a side upgrade or something like that. But the biggest thing about these things is that they are, if you're a collector, they're a collector item. If I were to win this, of course I'd use it for a while, but I'm never going to get rid of it. I'm gonna never move on. I'm probably going to frame this at some point, on the wall or something like that, or set it up as like a decorative thing, even after it has no more like actual use as to what it is. I'm never handing this over to somebody who's going to turn it into what are the cryptocurrency miners? Yeah, I'm never going to turn it over to a cryptocurrency miner, despite the fact that I could get like $20-$30 for it in several years, right? So that's nothing that I want this thing as a collector's item, and it would just be really, really great. That said, I mean, I suppose if I keep my eye out on line long enough, I might eventually find one of these for sale on eBay at some point down the road. But yeah, no, this is just really cool. So that's my main reason for
right. Absolutely. Okay, I've found the official Nvidia page where they have the rules for the contest. So I'm gonna drop that in the chat right now, so you guys can follow that link, and the instructions are on that page for how you can enter to win one of these. Now, there's some clarification for the information here. So they have made 200 of these cards. But they are giving away 77. No word on what's happening to the other 123 cards, as far as I can tell here. I don't know if they'll be sold down the road or what might happen. Because, we were told you can't buy one. You have to win one. So what's going to happen to those other ones? Maybe they'll be given away to game developers. I don't know. That's complete speculation. Anyway, so you can try to win one of those, and as you can see on the screen right now, we have an image there that they look pretty dang sexy. So, yeah, especially if you have one of those cases with a transparent front or side rather, and some awesome lighting inside. That'll be pretty sweet to play Cyberpunk 2077 on come September. Okay. Then we got some images that not Neon Arcade, Last Known Meal dug up on the over the weekend. Some pictures that were taken by a journalist inside CD Projekt Red. This is just kind of fun and interesting. unfortunately, we don't have a lot of context for this, but you can see on the screen there an image of one of their lobbies, and then their logo on the wall. But the most interesting one is this one with some pretty awesome artwork in the background. So, yeah. So, like I said, we don't have a ton of context for this. This is mostly for interest's sake. Do you have anything you want to say about these, though, Cyb?
They're just kind of nice to see. The artwork, everything is like really, really cool. It's obvious that they're really embracing this, and that this is going to be a massive part of their franchise network for the future going forward, period. And like you guys are excited for 2077. I'm excited for what this means overall. I'm excited for what this means from a standpoint within the industry, technology wise, from like pushing new and interesting content for reaching out and establishing that RPGs are here to stay. I'm excited for everything that has to do with everything about this game. It's like we are excited to see how this moves the industry going forward, and then the fact that it's going to be lots of games. We're going to get the multiplayer. Then we're going to get probably like a phone app of some type. We're going to get another a follow-up game after that, and we're going to get another game after that, and another game after that. And it's like this is the next few this is the next decade of cyberpunk gaming is going to rotate around this as a major thing, and it 100% deserves to be that, because Mike Pondsmith, brilliant writer, great guy, great person, and the CDPR team is second to nobody right now as far as like just alone integrity. Just alone with the integrity, they're next to nobody. Like name another AAA developer who is walking around promising that they're not going to throw in microtransactions into this game because it's a first-person game. Why would, or not because it's
I don't think it has to do with
because it's a single-player game. Like why would they throw in microtransactions? It's ridiculous.
I can just picture EA exec stroking his devil chin right now, going, "Wait a minute, microtransactions in first-person games. Why did we not think of this?" Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of like it's just a matter of like there's so much more to see from this going forward. So yeah, it's
right on. Yeah, and Danny Boy was asking, is this a new office? We don't actually know which of their offices these pictures were taken in. I did notice that in this first picture here, it just says CD Projekt on the desk. It doesn't say CD Projekt Red. But it does have the red, like the
I know that
logo.
This is not their main studio. We know that for sure. We aside from that, we don't know. I don't know off the top of my head which exec studio this is. But it is nice that they're that they are keeping with the decorations no matter where they go. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So. Yeah, just some interesting stuff to see there. And if you missed it, the Mad Queen and Cyb and I, we did a virtual tour inside CD Projekt Red using the Google Maps, or sorry, the Google Earth. What is that darn thing called? Where you can do the virtual walkthrough, Google Street View, but you can actually go inside the building and look around. So they actually went in, took the 360-degree photos within CD Projekt Red, so you can do that tour yourself, or you can find the video on our channel that we did with the Mad Queen. It was a lot of fun doing that. All right. Yes, Robin, Street View. Yes, sorry, it slipped my mind for a second.
Street View.
All right. So, also over the weekend, Jay from Artalsorian Games showed us some new artwork for It's not CD Projekt Red, for Cyberpunk Red. Man, they had to call it Cyberpunk Red, and then CD Projekt Red has the Cyberpunk and blah blah blah.
It's like every 5 minutes I'm like, wait, what? Confusing.
So for Cyberpunk Red, the new version of the Cyberpunk tabletop role-playing game from Talsorian Games, the Jumpstart Kit edition of that game is now out, and we've done unboxings of that. We have other videos covering that. If you're interested in learning more about that, we have a bunch of videos. Look for the playlist called Unpacking Cyberpunk Red. You'll find a literal unpacking of it as far as an actual unboxing. But then we also unpack what is Cyberpunk Red, what is the Cyberpunk tabletop game all about. We did one comparing it to D&D. So all kinds of stuff, and that series isn't done. We're still working on more videos for that. But yeah, check that out if you're interested in tabletop role-playing and you're a fan of Cyberpunk. That's definitely something that'll be your thing, I'm sure. Anyway, Jay unveiled to us some new artwork for Cyberpunk Red. And this, I believe, was shown on Sunday, but I'll show it to you here as well. So we've got this first image, which, man, this looks awesome. Some kind of a battle going on in the street with the guy dual-wielding the SMGs and taking out the thugs. Don't know who this is or what exactly is going on off the top of my head. He kind of looks like one of the... he looks familiar. He looks familiar. That's all I can say right now. I'd have to go look back through my Jumpstart kit and see if I could find any other pictures of him.
I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it is one of the pre-generated characters within the game.
One of the pre-gen. That's what I thought, because he does look very familiar. And I would have, again, if we hadn't come right down to the wire with getting the thumbnail and stuff done, I would have checked into that more. So yeah, that looks pretty awesome. And then we have this picture here, which
now this is not an official character. This is just
this dude does not look familiar.
This is just a random character.
Some kind of action shot taking place, but I mean, I couldn't tell you what's going on here. Looks like there's some canisters of some sort flying by, or he's throwing them or something, and breaking glass. Looks really awesome, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. It's like it's one of those floating like hollow ads or like glowing ads.
Like a holographic advertisement.
Yeah. Except, well, I mean, they're not 100% holographic. They're just more or less sort of. So they have like technology to them. They've got that light bar on the bottom that he's standing on, or that he's landing on, I should say. Then the image itself has some kind of like fibery glass type material that runs up and down that actually creates the image. So some of them are like real holograms, others are like holographic or light up signs, basically, that have actual like mass to them, via like lighting strands and stuff like that. Because this is, somebody was asking, is like, wait, techies can like walk on holograms? It's like, no, not it's not holograms. It's like there are holograms, but then there's things that are not holograms. They just are traditional like light up signs, and that's what he's connecting with here.
Right. So that's that physical component. Now the perspective here is all weird, because everything in the foreground is slanted one way, and then everything in the background is slanted the other way. So
it's a little wonky. I would really love to like see a zoomed out image of this. I think that things would make a little bit more sense. Because I'm not sure what's going on here.
The artists behind these images are Neil Branchino and Angelina Stroganova. So there's the credit for those images. Like I said, and thank you to Jay from Talsorian Games for showing these to us. All right. All right, so yeah, I think that's
I'm
it for
gonna
the cyberpunk
I'm,
stuff.
I'm gonna give you another image here to throw up.
Okay.
Just found this one coming from
Cherokee says window washing in 2077 is far more hardcore and badass. Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay,
That's right.
everybody duck and cover. We've got the window washers coming in.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I meant to get this out earlier. Literally just like realized. Oh wait, yes, this was a thing. Because last night I saw it and I was like, oh, that's cool, but is it accurate? And then I like looked it up a little bit more, and turns out that it sort of is.
So what is it?
I don't.
I feel like I'm looking at a
This
map made of Pepto Bismol.
This is a 3D printed Night City.
All right, just throwing the image up here.
John the Wise, he was the one who kind of posted about this.
Okay.
So,
All right, so who made this? It looks really cool.
this is by Dimension 3 Printing on
Okay.
Facebook. And again, I don't know how accurate this is. This is what I was looking up. But yeah, no, this appears to, I think this is the older city. If I'm pretty sure this is the 2020 version of the city that they had printed up. So they went through, they kind of created what they could from screenshot or like pictures, artwork, a bunch of other things. I looked it up to see how accurate it was. It came back going, yeah, that's really close to being like very accurate. So I was like, oh, cool. Then I forgot to actually send it to you this morning. So, yeah,
very cool.
life gets busy. Yeah, but yeah, John the Wise, he was on Twitter there. He was able to he found this up on the Facebook page where they printed this thing live. So again, I don't think this is the new city. It might be. It's kind of like, I'm not 100%, but we do know that it's decent interpretation of. I think we're pretty sure it's Cyberpunk 2020.
Well, very cool. And yeah, the Neon Arcade says it looks like a motherboard. Yeah, it kind of does.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
that's what I mean. A motherboard is technically just a really tiny city for electrons. Yay! Little friendly electrons and their Tron-like buddies.
They're Tron buddies. You know, that's funny because I'm playing I'm playing a game to review right now called Seventh Sector, and it's advertised as taking place in a cyberpunk world, and technically it kind of is, but it's more of an atmospheric puzzle platformer, except you don't platform in it. You play as a spark. You are like a spark of electricity that travels through wires, and you have to figure out all these puzzle kinds of. So it's kind of like Unraveled, which is another game I really liked. Like that kind of atmosphere on a small, like you're a small scale character traveling through all of these immersive environments, and the environments are really cool. And it's like trying to figure out what the heck's going on around you is kind of part of the fun of that. But yeah, anyway, it's not at all what I was expecting, but I'm really enjoying it. I'll have a review of that coming up as soon as I can get it out. But yeah, that just reminded me of that. The whole traveling through a motherboard. A city for electrons, yeah. All right. I believe that is all for the cyberpunk stuff right now. So let's get on to... Do you want to do the Blizzard roast first, or shall we talk Wolcen? Wolcen.
So yeah, well, we'll chat about Wolcen right now.
All right, yeah, this game's been getting a lot of press, and I haven't heard... I don't know too much about it. I know it's an ARPG. I know the gameplay looks... Like, it looks really, really good. Like, it's a beautiful-looking game. But there's kind of a story behind it, and some interesting things going on. So, yeah, why don't you dive into that?
So, basically, this is a game that, you know... I don't know if you remember a little while ago, there was this Blizzard convention where a bunch of these developers behind the Diablo series looked at the audience and said, "Hey, you guys want your ARPG to exist on your cell phone, be a lot smaller, have a lot less options, and just generally be a worse experience because it's just simplified to autoplay on your cell phone. That's what you want, right?" And then everybody was like, "Boo!" And then they were all like, "What? Do you guys not have phones?" Right? You remember this little stunt that happened?
That rings a bell, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I
Well,
saw 1,000 or 2,000 memes about it.
yeah. So there's a handful of people who are like, I'm really not comfortable playing Blizzard games right now. I'm generally over them as a company, and I'm really annoyed that that they have these games and whatever. So a bunch of other games have been making like really good ARPGs to combat this type of metal clamp that the game has, that the Blizzard has on this particular industry. So when this game was in development, it's been in development for 4 years. It's been in kind of like a private slash like alpha beta type thing. It's been free to play, or it's been in early access on Steam for a while. And basically, they're not free to play. They're not. It's not pay to win. There's no microtransactions. It's just the game. And they, at their peak, when they were doing it in early access, at the absolute peak, they had 2,000 players. That's the most people they've ever had playing their game in beta. And they tried to get more people in, couldn't really. So they reached out to a bunch of content creators and did some PR stuff, and then they launched the game. And they went from on average of like 1,000 players a day in their early access to 100,000 players concurrently on Steam, which means that you've probably sold around like 300,000 to 400,000 units at the very minimum. So yeah, that happened, and they were expecting tops. Every analyst who apparently gave them advice was telling them to expect anywhere around like 20,000 to 50,000 tops. So they went and got server tech that was capped out at like 50,000. And then the next thing you know, you've got 100,000 people trying to play your game at once. So things did not go well for their launch, to say the least. This isn't a hugely online game. There is an offline mode that you can play that is the entire game. The only difference between offline mode and online mode is that you can play with your friends on online mode, and that you can trade with other people. There's no store, there's no marketplace, there's nothing like that, but you could just play with your buddies. But you can't transfer your characters from live to offline to offline to offline to online. You can't do that. So a lot of people were upset this weekend when the game servers basically went down for 40 hours straight. And
just because of
I was one of those.
like
Yeah,
they were overloaded, hey?
Yeah, me and Luna were getting on. We were going to stream this weekend. It was all sorts of exciting. And then the server issues hit. And one server issue after another, after another, after another. And then they took down the servers and they upgraded their servers. They did a lot of things. The game is running fine now. I've had no problems playing the last 2 days. It's been 100% good. Not even any connection issues, no waiting in queues, nothing like that. They're still averaging like 100,000 players a day. It's not buggy. It's not like it was up until Monday, Tuesday, like Monday. I mean, maybe like Tuesday morning if you lived in Australia or something like that. But no, it's been fine. There's still some minor bugs, but those are minor bugs. There's nothing. It's nothing major. People were complaining about deleted characters, lost characters. This was what happened when they were on their previous servers, and everything was just going to garbage. And there was lots and lots of issues. Once they got that out of the way, the weekend was horrible. It was the worst launch that I can think of, because I can't even think of the last time an online game came up and then just didn't have the servers up for 40 hours straight on a weekend. I've never heard of this scenario. Spotty connections, 10, 15 restarts a day for the server. That I've heard of a lot. That happens to pretty much every game when it launches, that has any kind of like multiplayer online connectivity. But it was an absolute burning burning dumpster.
Right.
Dumpster fire.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a burning dumpster fire.
So bad launch.
Yeah, bad launch. Now,
But
like I
now,
said, I played it yesterday. Played it the day before. I've had no issues whatsoever. And I was wary of streaming this because it was like, yeah, this game is like, it's good, it's interesting. It's one, like, I haven't played an ARG since, or ARPG. Oh my goodness, I've got ARGs on the brain. I haven't played a good game like this, a good Diablo-like game, since Diablo 2. That's how long it's been since I really got into a game like this. I played, I guess that's not true. I played through Torchlight 1, 2, and 1 and 2, but I never really I never even finished the main storyline because it's just got really too grindy and not enough questing, not enough things to keep me interested. This game has kept me interested because you have so many different ways to play, so many different builds that you can make. I started out wanting to do a two-hand like barbarian type, and started to go that way. And then I got a really nice gun, like pistol gun, that functions sort of like a sawed-off shotgun. It's really, really small, short. That dropped, and then a shield dropped. Both really good items, like perfect stat rolls and everything. And I was like, okay, well, and meanwhile, I've been using the same two-handed sword for like 4 levels, and I was like really starting to like not be good because my weapon was just behind and it just wasn't getting any drops and there was nothing in the store. This little NPC store, like an actual normal NPC store, not a cash store. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to try this. So I equipped the shotgun and shield and discovered that I could use like most spells of the game, most abilities, and it was hell of a lot of fun.
That's
So
a shotgun shield combo. That's interesting.
Yeah, shotgun shield combo, and so you just like, and I got a bunch of these teleports and jumps, and I went boom, 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 and I landed. Yeah, Ali, I was the one who told Last Known Meal to play this, and now I didn't realize he was playing, so I'm gonna actually give him crap right now on chat, in direct chat here. Hey, Last, you were playing Wolcen without me. Angry face. There we go.
Busting out the angry face.
Yeah. So I wanna get in with a couple of people who are playing this game, because this is quite interesting. I want to finish up the storyline. I'm going to finish that up here this afternoon, and then I'm going to get into, and we're going to start streaming this a little bit. So, yeah, just was having a ton of fun with the riot shield, but then I got this beautiful, like, ultimate rare special weapon that has a name, and it's got a special visual to it, and there's no other, and it was a two-handed weapon. And so now I am back to my barbarian build with a two-handed sword that can cast that is specialized in blocking with the two-handed sword and dishing out ridiculous amounts of damage. So I've gone from, all over the spectrum of what the game has to offer, and I gotta say, this is one of the best ARPGs that I've ever seen, considering that this is at most a AA studio. So yes, there are a few games that are a little bit more fancy. They have a little bit more story. Ark has a little bit more unique character elements, although that game's just, it's not coming to the West, and they've run into a bunch of issues, and they've kind of got stuck into this kind of like a development hell. There's another game that I think is based off, I think it was mentioning it before, I think it's based off of the Lineage series, but yeah, it's coming out. It's kind of going to feature the same thing. I suspect, yeah, Lineage Eternal. Thank you, Somnolence. I think that's going to be better than this game. Probably there's a good possibility for that. But this game is still rock solid. And between this, Torchlight 3, and Lineage, Eternal coming. I think Diablo series is dead. like, like they're gonna have to like. I'm gonna encourage them right now. You take that thing all the way back to the square one and just start building it up. We talked about just recently how one of the devs behind it was been brought over from the Gears of War franchise, I believe it was, and they're taking the head, like they're taking over the studio completely, redirecting everything that has anything to do with Diablo. So so that's kind of the story in a nutshell. Wolcen Lords of Mayhem is a really good game. It's a really great game. It is a double A studio. It's not a triple A studio. If they were a triple A studio, I don't think they would have run into the same server issues that they had on the weekend. That said, it's horrible, obviously. They do deserve a lot of. They deserve some of the garbage that they've been getting, some of the downvotes that they've been getting. They deserve some of that, not all of it. Look, when you're a small company and you're trying to make payments and go from basically your company is running paycheck to paycheck, and you put out a game and you are everybody, all of your experience, everything that you've talked to, everyone you've talked to, everything that's going on in the company tells you that you're going to sell like 50,000 copies tops, and then you end up selling like 10 times that. It's like you opening up a lemon stand, right? Like a little lemonade stand on the side of the road. You're just gonna sell some lemonade on a weekend. You brought like 8 jugs of water. You bought an entire like 2 boxes of lemons. Some sugar. Some raspberry syrup and some other stuff. To kind of flavor up the drinks. And you're like, yeah, this is gonna be great. And then you show up and you're expecting to sell like maybe half of the stuff that you bought. Maybe half. This is just kind of a fun weekend thing. And then lo and behold, there's 8,000 people in lineup at your thing. Like when you look up, it's like, yeah, you're not going to handle that's going to be chaos for you. You're going to be calling your buddies going, I need more water out here. How much water do you need? Everything. It's like, it's going to go from that to an absolute dumpster fire very quickly, and it's not necessarily your fault, and because you're not McDonald's, you're not a professional drink company, you're just a small company who's doing this on the side for fun, right? That's basically what happened here. Yes, they're not an indie studio per se, but they're not a AAA studio. They're barely a AA studio. They're still making their payments week to week. They had to make an assumption and make the best possible guess for their investment for their servers. It wasn't the best package that they could get, but they did what they thought was right, and it ended up frying. So they had to basically have an emergency. They worked all weekend to rectify it. Anybody who's complaining that the game is bug riddled and they have characters deleting themselves and all that is not happening anymore. They fixed those issues. I mean, there might be the odd case where that's happening, but it's a truly minor thing. Looking at some of the reviews on Steam, somebody just posted, like, I couldn't get on all week. That's not true. Yeah, you couldn't get on the weekend, but the server's been up 100% since Monday. So, I mean, it came up on Sunday night, and it's been fine since then. You can't say, and you can't lie and say, oh no, it's been down for the last like 24 hours. That's not true. It was down on the weekend. It's Wednesday now. The server's been up for multiple days straight. No connection issues as far as I can see. It's fine. Like it's again, horrible launch.
Yeah.
But
it does have very mixed reviews, but they all do seem to be about the technical issues.
Yeah,
like in terms of the quality of the game, I was scanning through Steam reviews while you were talking there, and really didn't see any that were about the quality of the game itself.
Yeah, I've got the game running in the background right now and online, and I mean, I was online for like 20 hours yesterday with this game. I wasn't playing all the time. I was doing some other stuff, but I was just watching the online server. And I had my character just in the city, just chilling out while I was doing other stuff, just to see how the connection was. Connection's been fine. It's not been dropping. So again, yes, some people might be having this issue. Apparently, there's some like minor issues in some countries that don't have hyperlane access to good internet. And again, I would put those on the ISPs, not their servers. So um, Polly's 911. Thank you for the super chat. Gamers are spoiled, so they cry. Second things go bad. Yeah, this is a little bit of that, but I mean, it's also like again, it's very understandable. And Somnolence, thank you, Polly's by the way. That super chats from you are always so nice to see them. But Somnolence, when you have a game company, and I hope I'm saying that name right. I should I should know having you been around for so long, but when you're seeing a game that it's got some minor issues to it, you can hit them on that stuff for sure, 100%. There's absolutely nothing wrong with giving somebody a negative review, so long as that negative review is accurate. And then that's why we're against, like, brigading and sort of brigading. That's kind of a little bit of a complex issue, but that's why we're against, like, trying to shut games down because of like something that somebody said at the company a few years ago. It's like that's the equivalent to making up a complaint about existing technical issues. Yes, any technical issue complaint that the game was on, you couldn't load into the game on the weekend, 100% accurate. But I'm looking at the server stats. I was online for a good chunk of yesterday and never once had a drop. I was AFKing for like the majority of the day. So at least from my perspective, that stuff's not happening. Now, again, I know that's just one person's perspective, but overall, I think we have to admit that with what they're showing, with what the Steam charts are showing, it's 100,000 people playing this game concurrently. There's over 100,000 people watching this on Twitch. It's just not having the crash and burn right now. It did on the weekend, but it's not having it right now, and we have to, like, understand that are they a AAA studio? No. Are they, like, low indie? No. So the demand and the expectation that they be perfect 24/7 is something that they can't really hit that. So why would we demand that of them, without, like, giving them some leeway and some perspective into it? So that's all I'm saying is like yes, it was a horrible launch, but I think we can kind of give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. Okay, so Somnolent said that your offline character disappeared. It had nothing to do with the servers. Seems save games were ruined. Okay, that's an interesting one, and that's definitely that. I haven't even heard of that issue up until now. So that obviously there must be there's some issue going on there. And I don't know if I don't think the servers would have anything to do with that, because your local character is saved locally on your own hard drive. Like, there's an actual file that's created when you create your character on your own system. So how that got wiped out, I don't know. I understand, like, a lot of people's weekends were ruined by this. Like, there were a lot of people who were really excited to play, took off the whole weekend, and now, now nothing. Oh, that's gotta suck. Oh, that has got to suck. So yeah, no, I get that. Anyways,
Yeah, when you're
we're gonna stream
anticipating
this.
if you're taking time off work for I guess playing it on the weekend is not necessarily taking time off work, but there are lots of people who do book time off for a game launch. And,
Which is, whenever you're doing an online game launch, I always say, like, dudes, why would you do that? I've known people that have taken, like, 4-day weeks or, like, 4-day vacation days off or something like that for the launch, and then the next 4 days are like they play for a maximum of like 8 hours, and they're so angry. Like, I've seen that.
yeah, that's the kind of thing you might want to book that time like a week or two into the launch, especially for an online title. But then there's also titles like Cyberpunk 2077, which got delayed.
Polly's in the chat. All these problems, don't you guys have AAA
Yeah.
game studios? Oh, that's funny.
Well, I mean, speaking of Blizzard, they got absolutely roasted at the DICE Awards.
Oh, this was so funny.
They've been in the news for all the wrong reasons so much lately. A few months back, we did a little animation making fun of them right after the Blitzchung situation, and kind of going through their laundry list of sins. And I remember thinking at the time, this has got to be rock bottom for them, right? Nope,
Yeah.
they've like blown right past that, and down into like the magma core of rock bottom.
Hilarious.
But so the DICE Awards just happened recently, which is like there's a convention, and we talked about how Tim Sweeney was speaking at the DICE conference. Not to be confused with the DICE Game Studio, but the DICE conference. Tim Sweeney was a keynote there, and they also have this sort of awards show that is associated with it. And it's all these industry people. Anyway, so Jessica Chobot, who is a presenter on the IGN Daily Fix and the Nerdist News show, was co-hosting this. This is the 23rd edition of the show with her co-host Greg Miller. And she began by asking if Miller had played Telling Lies, which is it's a narrative game. It's like one of those interactive video, like live action movie games, but it's interactive. And Miller said yes, he had, but then Chobot said, "Oh yeah, Telling Lies. It's about Blizzard making Warcraft 3 Reforged." And man, that got quite an interesting reaction from the audience. To which she said, "I'm sorry, I can't hear you over the sound of Blizzard censoring everybody."
Yep. It's so good.
I don't even know what to
so-
say to that.
such
Like
a good
I told you
burn.
earlier that I felt like the delivery was a little flat, but the burn itself was like, ouch.
And I'm pretty sure it was like written beforehand. Like it wasn't.
Oh yeah,
spontaneous
definitely
by
she
his-
planned this beforehand. Like there was no. This wasn't like a. I doubt she would get out and come up with that on the fly, but yeah. Anyway, I wanted to have that audio. This is just again another thing I didn't have time to do before the podcast today, but yeah. So yeah, they got hammered.
Yeah, it was really funny. It was honestly like I was rolling with laughter. It was.
Well, yeah, and if you're getting to the point, because I mean, now we've got people within the industry publicly mocking Blizzard for all this stuff, and it's not just those toxic YouTubers anymore. Now it's people who are writing for IGN and attending the DICE conference. I mean, you've done fricked up when that's the case. You're like I doubt that anyone would even get up and tell a joke like that about EA at this point. But
Yeah.
wow, Blizzard. Wow, you've dug your grave real deep. And
Yeah, because they're now the industry joke. So
yeah, absolutely. And if you're curious who were the winners at the Game Awards, Game of the Year of the DICE Awards. Not the regular Game Awards. Not the Game Awards, but if you're curious who won the DICE Awards, Game of the Year went to Untitled Goose Game,
ooh, brilliant.
which beat out Death Stranding, Control, Disco Elysium, and Outer Wilds. I have got it. Okay, I'm gonna have to check this game out because
it's probably one of the funniest games you'll ever play.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to try it out.
Luna was playing that. She might pop into. She might start streaming that in the future here. But yeah, it's funny. It's funny. It's extremely funny.
You keep mentioning this Luna person. She's gonna have to come out of hiding eventually. You realize.
Yeah.
So Untitled Goose Game also won Outstanding Achievement for an Indie Game. and outstanding achievement in character. The winner was the Goose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I agree with Robin Green in the chat here. The Goose is the greatest anti-hero since Riddick.
There you go.
From
Okay.
Chronicles.
I've been hearing about this game for like half a year now. There's been so much talk about it. They played it at AGDQ. I didn't watch it because I didn't want to spoil anything, but man, I like...
You know what's funny? I pitched this game idea to a studio about 4 years ago. Not the same studio that didn't steal my idea, but I pitched it and they were like, I don't think that's gonna work. Now it wasn't the exact same thing. In my version, it was a seagull.
Yeah, I remember you pitched that to me, Seagull Simulator.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
I would love to do that. I mean,
you weren't the only one who I pitched that to, but yeah, it's like, and now it's like, oh bloody hell.
I think a goose, geese are definitely funnier than seagulls. I think hands down that is objectively true.
Maybe.
All right, I'm gonna have to check this game out, but
yeah, no, it's good. It's good stuff. It's a visual treat, and it's also like a comedical treat as well. Yeah.
Other winners from the night: Death Stranding won for outstanding technical achievement. Jedi Fallen Order won Adventure Game of the Year. And The Outer Worlds won RPG of the Year, which was interesting. It had some stiff competition. I'm glad to see them get some recognition because I've been loving that game. But yeah, The Outer Worlds' other nominees in that category were Disco Elysium, Final Fantasy XIV, Kingdom Hearts 3, and Pokemon Sword and Shield. And then Disco Elysium did win for outstanding achievement in story, however. And I think that's... I'm just scrolling through to see if there's any other interesting one. Mario Maker 2 took Family Game of the Year, and Luigi's Mansion 3 won Outstanding Achievement in Animation, which is interesting, beating out Death Stranding, Days Gone, Devil May Cry 5, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So that's pretty interesting to see a Nintendo game in that category. Because you think especially of like the Mario type games, and that series of games is more simplistic animations, but obviously they've accomplished something interesting there. I've been thinking about picking up that game. It looks like fun.
No, it's a good one.
Yeah, so some interesting stuff at the DICE Awards, and we're through all of our scheduled topics in less than an hour. How did we do that?
Well, it's not a lot to talk about.
I guess.
I mean,
we should talk about the Sonic movie.
Yeah. So Sonic movie. Oh yes, and then there's a big update to Sea of Thieves today, or I think today. And then Ninja's in the news because.
What do you do now?
He said that all gamers should approach playing games like LeBron James and like, professionals, that you shouldn't excuse yourself for losing a match. Those games where like obviously we're talking like, Fortnite and PUBG. You shouldn't have an excuse for coming in second out of 100 people. You're just a baddie. Get good, you useless piece of garbage, because you don't understand. Games are like real life, man.
What? Okay.
Yeah. Now that was me summing up his tweet quite significantly, but that was what he basically said, and then he's kind of like doubled down on it. Now I'm all for doing things right. In fact, I'm like super like anal that way. Like I have to have it. Like if you're gonna play a game, play it right, play it good. That's the way I approach games, because that's me being insane. I have a legitimate condition that makes me difficult and sometimes insane. And I can realize that that's insane. Apparently, Ninja, who's quite the normal person, has no capability of understanding that people play games for fun and relaxation, and that it's not about winning every single match.
Okay, but you know how like there's child TV stars and child movie stars who just at a young age they lose touch with reality and they start to say and do crazy stuff. Well, now we've got a guy like Ninja who makes he became a millionaire celebrity playing freaking Fortnite. That's gotta skew your picture of reality somewhat.
Yeah, a little bit. And speaking of child stars, Macaulay Culkin and another dude, who I can't really name, you know, speaking of child stars, like they have stories. Oh my God, they have stories.
TMZ just tuned in and is like, Macaulay Culkin and did what with some dude?
Anyways, I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, no, I mean, he does kind of follow into that line of thinking. He's this sort of megastar that's kind of been a little all over the place recently. I mean, he went from number one to, not necessarily being number one to doing a deal with Mixer to doing some other stuff, and now he's doing other stuff, and part of it I think is just trying to get his voice and get more recognition. So probably doesn't mean this as necessarily as much as he's saying, but is saying this to maybe get more attention because that's what celebrity types do.
Oh, Paulie's comment is, guys, I was farming some gear in Division 2, but could not get the drop. Ninja's words hit me hard. And I'm not going to say the next part because of the bots listening, but I was not able to get good. Yeah. Well, I mean, fair point. I mean, there is, first of all, you could be the best player in the world. You're going to lose some matches. That's just the way it goes. You get a bad bout of RNG. You make one bad decision, your team makes a bad decision, you're going to lose some matches. That's the way it goes. There's no game that you're guaranteed to win every time, especially if you're playing against I should say if you're talking about multiplayer and the playing field is even. The best player is like slightly better than the second best player, so sometimes they're going to beat you. But yeah, like there's all different kinds of games that you play for all different. When I'm just gaming casually, just relaxing for the evening, and my relaxation game alternates. Recently is alternated between Mario Odyssey and Super Mario Maker 2. And yeah, I enjoy challenging myself, but sometimes when I'm tired and I'm just trying to unwind, I'm not hardcore dedicated to beating the hardest levels I can find in the Mario Maker. Sometimes I just want to play for fun and just relax, chat with people, listen to a podcast while I'm playing, and that takes some of my focus. So yeah, I don't know. I think though, like, there's a risk in taking him too literally. Like he's not necessarily talking about, all games everywhere. He might be being hyperbolic kind of a thing. He obviously is passionate about what he does, kind of like sports players are, they'll get on those commercials for Sprite or whatever, and you gotta be your best. You gotta never give up. You gotta push that passion to the limit. You gotta, more encouraging words here. Somebody forgot to finish my script, but do it. Do the thing. Never give up. Just keep pushing. Keep pushing. I'm going to drink this Sprite now. So, yeah. Sounded like he was going for that kind of a thing.
Yeah, probably.
That's what I'm, based on your recap. I didn't read his actual tweet. I hadn't heard about this.
No, it's all over the news right now. So, yeah, it just in general, like, Ninja being Ninja, I think, is really what this boils down to. And, again, I'm crazy like that, where I, my personal goal is to always like be the best, and to always like strive to be, as perfect as I can in video games, because it's just something that I'm good at. But I realize that is an oppressive and insane thing to deal with when you're not that way,
Well,
and when you
it
just want
has
to
to
have fun.
be, yeah, it has to be for fun. Like I challenged myself to play Sekiro, and had a lot of fun with it. It's incredibly difficult, and
I'm not. I don't mean to brag, but I was having this conversation with my brother recently, and he's like, "Have you played Sekiro?" And I'm like, not, I'm not. I wasn't super into that one. It just didn't click for me. Like I appreciate the game, think it's great, but it just never got me interested. And I don't normally play those games. I never touch Dark Souls because it's not like visually it's just not a game that I enjoy. But I did get into Code Vein, and I was talking about how I went through Code Vein, did all this, did all that, and he's like, how many times did you die on the bosses? And I'm like, 3 times. He's like, what? No, that's impossible. I'm like, why? It's not that hard. And he's like, no, that's impossible. And I'm like, yeah, it's impossible for normal people. I'm not normal. I'm insane. I'm not saying I'm better than people. I'm just insane. You have to realize this. Like I'm crazy. And I take the stuff to the extent like I look up, first of all, that's one thing that I spoil myself on like game stats as much as I can, because I look up everything I can so that I can like figure out the best way to win with the most important style. So that's the thing, and that was the thing with that I couldn't get into with Dark Souls and other games like that. Whereas I could get it in with some of these other games, is that I like approaching a game, approaching a thing, where like if I can be good and stylish at the same time, like finish it in absolute glorious style, then that's my game right there. Like that's my thing. If I am just overpowered because it's like, okay, your most overpowered character in this particular game is this cookie cutter build, and you have to play this cookie cutter build. I hate that. I hate that more than anything. I despise that kind of concept where everybody's running around playing the cookie cutter build because the cookie cutter build gets you 0.5% more DPS than not. I absolutely hate that. I like a game where I can play my style and just like ease into my role and then be really, really good at it and enjoy it. I love that kind of stuff. But I understand that's not for everybody, and it shouldn't be either, because it's like it's just not it's not conducive to healthy to anything healthy. It's like, no, focus on that. So yeah, I'm not I'm not bragging. I'm like, really, I'm not bragging. I understand that the way I approach a lot of games is like crazy, and that's like, that's like I hate in turn games where it's like, you wasted a turn. How could you waste a turn? I don't do that, which is why I don't play with a lot of other people, because I get too into the game, and I'm like, you have to like play to perfection, and it's like, that's hard. It was so hard when we were playing what was that game that we were playing a lot? Um for the King. Yeah,
Yep,
For the King.
for the king.
So we were playing For the King. I was often had like a stress ball and everything every time that somebody was making a choice that I didn't perceive to be the most efficient, best possible choice for a stylish finish as possible. I'm sitting there like pumping this stress ball going, why aren't they doing it? Why aren't they doing the perfect way? There's a perfect way to do this. It's like, that's crazy. And like, you have to not bring that to the table if you
I'm
want to
glad
have.
you recognize that. That is crazy.
Ash has seen me far more than most people. Well, I mean, no, he's seen me a good amount. I used to run one of the like most successful guilds in WoW, and I was a top 5. I was a top 10 player for a little while. I won't tell you exactly where, because that would out me. But I understand, and I realize that that's crazy. And I lost friends when I took the game too seriously. So this is something that I encourage people to like play for play to win, like Ninja is saying, right? Play to win, but also play to have fun, and don't play to oppress your friends because you're better than them, or you think you're better than them, which again, I have to stress, is not the case. I mean, there's some games that I'm terrible. Rhythm games, I cannot do rhythm games. Period. I am incapable of playing any rhythm game and doing well on it up until Saber Beat and Sound Shield or Shield Sound, something like that. Up until those games, I never could pass any level. Period. Any level, no matter what difficulty level it was. Just rhythm in my head. Like they didn't add that algorithm to understanding that. I come from a long family of musicians. I cannot play a note. I do well. Okay, I can replicate some very small short songs. I am incapable of like writing or doing music in any way, shape, or form. And coming from a whole family of musicians, where every single one of like you know everybody in my family can like walk in onto a stage and play for a huge amount of people and play well and have a standing performance of clapping. Like you have no idea how frustrating that is. But then again, I can also pwn them in every game that we play, and that's usually with me like not trying. Like I actively we were playing a game recently and had a certain sibling who was complaining about the game. I intentionally rigged the game so that they would win, just so that they could stop complaining because they were complaining that it was a stupid game and they were going to lose. And I'm like, okay, you want to play it that way? I'm going to make you win. I want to make you win so that you can't complain about this game ever again because, oh, remember that time you complained about the game and you won? Ha, take that. And it's like the only person who knew what I was doing was like my mom. she's like, yeah, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing right now.
Terror
Like,
Case is Saber Beat returns. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
okay. Beat Saber. Beat Saber. I'm trying to yeah.
Game
Gamer
Notes.
Notes.
Green Game Notes says rhythm games are my jam. Wouldn't have seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't
Go
have seen that
figure.
coming.
Go figure a musician is good at rhythm games, especially a rapper.
So, anyways, yeah. So what? Yeah, he's good at that. By the way, he has a new channel, he's new project. Sorry, new project that he's working on with Pex, I believe. Oh, I closed it. I closed the tab. Game Notes, can you link that song that you played? I don't have it open and I can't pull it open right now. It would take like 5 minutes, but I'm sure you have it somewhere. If you can like post that in chat, that would be great, or link it to me in Discord, real quick. I don't want to like.
You link it to. I don't think links are permitted in the chat. So yeah, just link it to.
Send it to me on Discord.
Send it to
and I'll post it here because you guys did an amazing job on this song, and I want everybody to listen to this. Save this for after the podcast. Listen to it. This is the amazing song. I'm gonna put it into chat. I'm gonna give you the title so that you can Google it. But yeah, you guys, like, I was there like listening in as you guys were working on this over the course of like a week. I think it was 2 weeks that you guys put into making this thing, and it was every day. Like, it was Gamer Notes and Pax just go nuts on this thing, and just amazing. We now have him in listed as one of our featured channels. He's a musician. He does like epic music, which is a thing that I love. I've been following his music. In the epic music world on YouTube, you kind of like, you don't really have your channel. He's trying to build his channel, so that's why we're mentioning it, and that's why we put it up on the featured list. But because it takes, like, sometimes you don't get a song out every week, sometimes you don't even get one out every month. It's hard to like keep up with a constant like stream of music. So normally what they do is they put it on other channels, and then the other channels run with it. So I'm gonna post this here in the chat, and then the search for it is going to be Pedro Pedro C Santos. That's his YouTube channel. The song is called Peck's Dark Silhouette, featuring Game Notes, epic dark orchestral rap music. Now again, you might be thinking, dark orchestral rap music? I guarantee you this is awesome. Go take a listen to it. It's really really cool. And Gamer Notes has been working on this with Pex for a long time, and it's awesome. Yeah, really cool.
All right. We were going to talk about the Sonic movie. I just remembered.
Yeah. Well, just really quickly. So Sea of Thieves got a major update. Cosmetics, character being able to like change and tweak your character a little bit more stuff to do. Just goes to show that again. I know a lot of people did play the game at first, didn't really like it. Microsoft's not given up on this title. They doubled down. They threw basically every cent that they made from this game back at the studio. Said keep making this game better, because the better you make this game today, the better you're going to make games in the future. And we've realized that this is the way to make good games, is to get the game developers to actually make good games and not to give up on something. Again, if it's not your jam, totally understand. I haven't played it. I it sucks that I can't play it because I'm not on Windows 10. Frankly, the game has done really well. It's really great for memes. Like, good lord, it's a meme machine. It's a great product that they've been keeping up on, and I just want to give them a shout out for that, because it's like they've been sticking with that, adding constant new update, adding constant new content. Again, not everybody's jam, but it shows that Microsoft is focusing on what's important, and that's making good games. Again, a little bit of a rough launch, but I think that what they're doing is and how they're treating this now, I think is good. So yeah. But yeah, so Sonic movie. Talk about something that was, they put that Sonic character out and it was a nightmare. That thing was disgusting. I still have chills when I think about the original character design. Um, and you can see all of the actors and all of the people responsible are now taking credit for, oh yes, no, I thought taking it back and redoing it was 100% absolutely the best choice of things to do. Like everybody's saying that it was their idea. Like, oh yeah, I totally supported that. That's a little tiny bit disingenuous, but let's be honest and give them props that the movie is actually amazing. The movie is legitimately amazing. Jim Carrey is this is probably one of his best roles ever. It's right up there with The Grinch. It's literally, at first I was like, "Oh no, really?" I thought it would be so bad. I thought it'd be so terrible. I was like, "No, this is horrendous. This isn't going to work." But, it apparently it works. And apparently it's great. So, I mean, everybody's giving this positive views. I'm seeing it either tonight or tomorrow. So, I'm looking forward to it. But everybody who I've talked to has said that this is one of the best, like, video game. It's the best video game movie ever, and that the redesign was perfect, nailed it on the head. Jim Carrey's role is terrific. And that he comes off as a villain that you love to hate, and that he just comes off as a good villain. He's not some Saturday morning cartoon villain that is disingenuous at best, or just kind of like there for the being there. Um, he's a fellow Canadian. He's a great guy. Um, he's he's gone through a lot in the last few years. He's, I would say, a little unstable, and as somebody who's in that boat, I can say 100% that I feel for him. I really do. I really hope that he gets a little bit better, and I understand. Like, I don't agree with everything that he thinks or says, but I understand why he kind of went off the deep road. But that doesn't mean that he's any less of a great actor. Just because somebody's doesn't believe everything you believe, or is suffering from a little bit of issues. I think he's been getting a lot better, but like, yeah, you should have seen him like 2 years ago, like right after the Hawaii thing. Like, the dude was shook, man. Like, seriously, he was grasping at straws. He was grasping at anything for like a sense of like anything, and it honestly looked scary to me. I felt like sorry for the guy, but I think he's gotten a lot better. I think he's worked through some of those issues, and now he's doing great art, which is what an artist should do. So there's that. So yeah,
The movie is doing pretty well.
yeah, really
And
well.
it is, I mean, it's got a 94% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, 8.5 on Metacritic. And, of course, the critic scores are much lower, 65% on Rotten Tomatoes, 47% on Metacritic. But, yeah, I'm definitely going with the user scores on this one. And especially, like, on Rotten Tomatoes now, they have the, the verified ratings of, who has seen the movie, so, or can prove they bought a ticket to the movie. Yeah, I don't know. I thought the redesign looked really good, and it actually looked. I mean, I was never particularly interested in seeing it. I'll probably, I don't know, I might see it eventually, but it does sound like it's. I don't know, with review scores like that, I might have to check it out if I'm.
I would take your kids, man. It's a great family movie. It's a really, really, really good family movie, and it's more appropriate than even like Detective Pikachu was. So, and that's crazy because Detective Pikachu was actually Deadpool the whole time. It's really sorry, spoiler alert for Detective Pikachu if you haven't seen that. Turns out that he in fact was Deadpool the whole time. It was shocking. It was like, wow, crazy. Who would have known?
All right,
but
I'm missing something.
Yeah, no. Ryan.
I know it's Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. He played. Okay, never mind.
And I know Ryan Reynolds played Deadpool. If that's the joke, I don't get it.
He did the voice of Pikachu.
Yes, I know.
So he's Deadpool. Anyways.
Oh, this one actor played two roles.
I know, right? And it's clearly
That's hilarious.
There's clearly a connection there.
Clearly, yes. All right.
It's all connected.
I think that is probably where we should wrap up. But yeah, so I think that the decision for them to go back and redesign Sonic was definitely incurred a lot of goodwill. Was a good move on the part of the studio to listen to all those toxic fans. Just, toxic and rotten. And, well, look at that. They are actually supporting and praising the movie now that you've shown that you're willing to treat it with respect. Maybe there's a few game journalists and game publishers who could learn from that. Anyway, that wraps up our show for today. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Thank you for the great conversation in the chat, for supporting the show by listening live or after the fact. Please don't forget to slam that like button if you haven't already. And we really appreciate that. It shows YouTube that you appreciate this content. Also, hit that subscribe button so you can catch all our content. Hit the notification bell if you want to be hopefully notified when we put stuff up or when we go live. I know a lot of times the notifications don't go out. Don't know why that is. We can't understand the system, but in any case, that bell button is a metric that YouTube uses to when they're assessing, the value of a channel. So we appreciate you hitting that if you're willing to, and also, of course, leave comments below. A special thanks to our Patreon supporters and our channel members who help make this content possible. Our big damn heroes over on Patreon, Josh, Robin, and our 2 anonymous supporters there. Channel members, Jason Cropper, Mr. Pazdzernik, Jer Schultz, Game Notes, Night City Punk, and Terror K. Appreciate all of you fine folks. And also those of you who listen on the audio-only platforms, really appreciate your support as well. Don't forget, you can join the live show on Wednesday nights and Saturday mornings on YouTube, where you can interact with us and other listeners and be a part of the discussion. Also, join the Discord server. Didn't mention it earlier like I usually do, but definitely join the Discord server. Lots of great conversations always happening over there, and you can tell us what you'd like to see featured on the channel. The Augmented Reality Podcast is a presentation of the Triple S League. Check out our YouTube channel for game guides, reviews, comedy, news updates, and tons more quality gaming content. My name is Ash. On behalf of Cyb, thank you so much for listening. we'll talk to you again very soon.